Donald Trump is more panicked right now than we've ever seen him. And it all comes back to the Epstein scandal. In the past, Trump has relied on intimidation to get his way. He's pushed Republicans into line and counted on his base to follow him without question. But this time, it's different. Not only is his MAGA base showing cracks, but even MAGA-aligned Republicans in Congress are refusing to back down. In fact, some are directly defying him by pushing forward with efforts to make the Epstein files public. The most surprising figure of all, Marjorie Taylor Greene. What she just said has Trump so furious that he's now openly lashing out and threatening her. We're going to break down exactly what she said and the White House's frantic response that just leaked. But before we get into that, if you're finding value in these updates, please take a second to give this video a like. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us keep going. Now, before we dive into the clash between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump, I want to start with Congressman Jim McGovern, who just called out Republicans for how subservient they've been to Trump while defending Epstein.
It's all about the ego of the man who lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You guys think you work for Trump. You're obsessed with him. It's pathetic. Republicans are ruining this institution, Mr. Speaker, destroying this institution. Again, let me repeat, every single Republican on the Rules Committee voted against releasing the Epstein files. Every single one. I mean, we heard last night that all Republicans want full transparency, but that's just not true. Let me read you a quote from the top Republican in this country, President Donald J. Trump. This is what he says about the Epstein files, and I quote, "It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats and some stupid Republicans," end quote. And at a press availability just minutes ago, the president again said that this is all a hoax. Now, what do Republicans think of that? Donald Trump says this is all a hoax, and if you want to release the files, you're stupid. Now, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that the guy who once called Epstein a, quote, terrific guy, and who Epstein considered his, quote, closest friend, is not actually interested in getting to the truth. But you know when this clicked in for me, Mr. Speaker, and for a lot of people? It clicked after Trump won, and then the backtracking began. It clicked again yesterday. It clicked after Republicans. It clicked after the same Republican leaders who invited influence to the White House and then passed out binders about the soon-to-be-released client list suddenly changed their tune. And it clicked again yesterday when Phase 2 of the binders came out. More information released that's already been released. 97% of it has already been released. It clicked when the same MAGA politicians who once pledged to release everything suddenly came up with more excuses, more delays, and more stalling tactics. And what is obvious to everyone is that someone is hiding something. And while all this stalling goes on, what happens? Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's partner in crime, winds up in a cushy country club prison courtesy of Trump's political appointees. Not a word of outrage from this Republican majority. Not a whisper of accountability. Just silence. Now, let's not pretend that this is complicated. It's pretty obvious what's going on. The Trump administration has the power to release the Epstein files today. They could redact names to protect victims and survivors and deliver the truth. But they refuse.
It's honestly embarrassing how far Republicans will go to serve Donald Trump. These are people who constantly talk about strength, toughness, and values. Yet time and again, they bend the knee to a former reality TV host because they're terrified of him posting about them online. That's the reality. They avoid doing their jobs out of fear of Trump's next outburst on social media. And that's why it's been so surprising to see Republicans like Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Nancy Mace take a different stance, at least when it comes to the Epstein files. Today, Marjorie Taylor Greene made headlines by speaking out, and it triggered an explosive reaction from Trump himself. In fact, his threat against her was downright stunning. Let's break down exactly what happened.
All of the fault belongs to the evil people that do these things to the innocent. This is the most important fight we can wage here in Congress, is fighting for innocent people that never receive justice. And the women behind me have never received justice. And do you want to know why? It's because Jeffrey Epstein somehow was able to walk among the most rich, powerful people, not only in America, but foreign countries. Yesterday, I heard countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even Israel, and other countries. The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth we are demanding come out on behalf of these women, but also as a strong message to every innocent child, teenager, woman, and man that is being held captive in abuse. This should never happen in America, and it should never be a political issue that divides us.
Now, I don't want to give Marjorie Taylor Greene any credit because she doesn't deserve credit. She's not taking a stand. She is doing what she should as an elected representative. This is your obligation, and you shouldn't get a participation trophy just because you said the most notorious child trafficker and abuser in the history of our country was a bad guy. And we should get transparency on that. I'm not going to build you a statue and throw you a parade. This is what Marjorie Taylor Greene should be doing if she wants to live up to any of the values that she claims to have and consistently wipes her butt with. Like seriously, Marjorie Taylor Greene, finally, you showed up and acted like you cared. But I am encouraged that so many Republicans are, and Donald Trump is clearly so panicked that so many Republicans are, because now it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's not just Thomas Massie. Many others are lining up, and it's why Trump is using Marjorie Taylor Greene as an example with the threats that he is making that we can see right here. White House official giving a warning shot to any Republicans who signed Massie's discharge petition, telling me it would be viewed as a very hostile act to the administration. Full statement. Helping Thomas Massie and liberal Democrats with their attention-seeking, while the DOJ is supporting a more comprehensive file release effort from the Oversight Committee, would be viewed as a very hostile act towards the administration. They're actually calling it a hostile act, simply to demand transparency, something this very administration claims to support. And now, according to Congressman Robert Garcia, the ranking member on the Oversight Committee, there's an organized pressure campaign underway. Threats are being sent to Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. Not just talk of primary challenges, but other forms of intimidation meant to keep them in line. Let's be clear, this isn't really a Republican-led effort. It's happening because Democrats are pushing for it. A small number of Republicans, far too few but still notable, are joining Democrats in demanding accountability. And that's what has the White House, and Donald Trump in particular, so rattled. He thought that with a little recess, a few distractions, and some red meat for the base, the issue would fade away. But it hasn't. It hasn't because we're still talking about it. And it hasn't because Democrats like Jared Moskowitz are shining a spotlight on it, just like he did here.
Have you heard about the Epstein thing that's going on here?
I have.
You have? What do you think about it?
I'm not going to give comment on anything happening in America. I'm here as a witness.
Perfect.
I'm here as a witness.
I'm
here as a witness for what is happening in the United Kingdom and in the European.
Perfect. Let me just go through it. So it's been 9 months, right, since we've been meeting in these hearings. We've not had Pam Bondi here, even though we have jurisdiction over the Department of Justice. Not Dan Bungie.
The gentleman yield.
Nat Cash Patel. I will 100%. We'll go back and forth. Let me just do my thing.
Okay.
And
Well, I'm just going to correct. Kash Patel's coming in I'll give you an extra 10 seconds. Kash Patel, the director of FBI, is coming in 2 weeks, and the Attorney General is coming in 4 weeks.
Fantastic. But still, we're not doing that this week, the week we're having votes on the Epstein thing. So, Pam Bondi gives the influencers, these Republican influencers, a binder. It says Part 1 of the Epstein files. Don't know if you saw it. It was quite spectacular. The Attorney General then says the Epstein list is on her desk. Then DOJ issues a memo, says there is no list. Then, you have any questions about any of that? We've had no hearings on any of that at all. That, the list is on my desk, then there is no list. Then we gave binders to Republican influencers. This committee's had no questions on any of how that transpired at the Department of Justice. Then hold on.
Well, it sounds like you're going to in the next few weeks. So that's a jolly good thing.
Mr. Farage, we can talk soon, but not yet. Okay.
Right.
So then the president comes out and says the whole thing's a hoax. He blasts his own base. He blames Barack Obama. I mean, he hasn't been president for a very long time.
We always say that every Republican accusation is really an admission about themselves, and nowhere is that clearer than with the Epstein files. Republicans have aligned themselves with the elites, protecting the interests of the wealthy and well-connected. It's not just about giving them massive tax breaks. It's about shielding them from accountability, keeping their actions hidden, and making sure consequences never reach them. Meanwhile, ordinary people face surveillance, harassment, and scrutiny for simply living their lives. That's the difference. The rich get to operate in the shadows, while everyday Americans are the ones watched and policed. And Donald Trump's policies have only deepened that divide, rewarding the wealthy while leaving working families more vulnerable. That's why we have to keep calling this out. That's the contrast that needs to be made every single day. And if you want to support us continuing to do that, as always, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and if you've made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I will see you soon.